Is it frozen?
Maybe I don't know.
Is it frozen to everybody else?
I don't know.
Oh, there we go.
We were frozen. I'm not sure if we were actually frozen to you guys or to us. But anyway, this is Monica from Huckleberry Mountain Botanical School of Herbalism. And I'm here with
Lindy.
Lindy, my daughter. She also works at Huckleberry Mountain Botanicals. She's going to get us set up on
The prepared
homestead really quick. Hi, Sean. So today has actually been a pretty good day. I'm tired.
Me too.
I think we're tired because we've actually accomplished a lot today, and that's a good day. It hasn't been a bad day. It's been a good day with a lot of accomplishments, but now we're in the evening. We're ready to wind down a little bit. So this is actually kind of a perfect recipe. By recipe, I mean, I'm going to tell you what ingredients we're putting in there today, and then you need to experiment and figure out what works best. One thing I've discovered about trying to follow recipes for like those power bites and all these different things is that a lot of times they don't stick together. And sometimes that happens to my recipes too. So if you are making a recipe and it's not sticking together, don't stress or worry about it. Just add a little bit more powder or a little more herbs, or even add some raw, some coconut flour, or I have, just in case, some ground almond. We actually, soaked and then dehydrated at a low temperature, yeah. And then I ground it up, just in case we have some runniness that we can't combat, which is typical and normal. But I don't want to give you an exact recipe, and the reason I don't is because I want you to realize that making these things doesn't have to be hard, and you don't have to have something right in front of you. But let me tell you the ingredients we'll use today. We're going to use maca, and maca is really good for adding energy and invigoration in all ways. You can look that up. It's great for hormonal imbalances, balancing, hormones, and any issues that would come along with that, both in the male and female netherlands. Okay. Then we have coconut. We're going to be using this to roll it in when it's done. Cinnamon, cocoa, because why not make chocolate flavored? You don't have to,
yeah,
but we are going to. So a cinnamon chocolate maca. And then we have dried cherries. You can use raisins, craisins, prunes. You don't have to use any fruit if you don't want to. But I like the fruit in there. And then we are actually using a new thing I found today, which I thought was really cool. It's almond butter, but it also has maple in it, some maple butter, right?
Maple. Yeah. So
it's maple sugar. So it's maple sugar and almonds.
It's really good. Yeah, it's a raw maple almond butter.
Yeah. I mean, that sounded so good to me. It's a little runnier than the typical almond butter.
Maria.
Hi, Maria. So what I'm going to do right up front here is try not to cut myself, because I actually did cut my finger yesterday. I cut it really deep when it slipped, and it just sliced right into my finger.
We were able to put to practice some of the things we've been learning.
Yeah, I sent Lindy out very quickly to get some yarrow to stop the bleeding, and then some self-heal to soothe
and get rid of the bacteria.
Yeah, and continue to stop the bleeding, because it really wanted to keep bleeding. And I tell you what, when I took that self-heal off, it was painful. And I was like, nope, get me more self-heal. I'm putting it back on.
Mm-hmm.
I kept it on most of the day yesterday.
Yeah, and it wasn't complicated, like spit poultice. You just stick it in there, chew it up, and then boop.
Yeah. It does. It works effectively, and it doesn't take a lot of effort to use it, as long as you have those things growing in your yard, which a lot of people do. So tell me, do you guys have self-heal in your yard? And tell me this too, have you guys made these kinds of, energy bites or whatever? I mean, these sell for a lot of money at the store. Like really, I was looking at some the other day and I thought, what? Like that's so expensive. You can easily be making your own at home with some really basic ingredients. And if you don't have maca, who do I buy it from? The maca. I'll put a link on there, because there's some places that sell really high quality maca versus others. And this place has a lot of different selections, so you're not just stuck.
Is it the Maca team?
The Maca team. That's who I get my maca from. And then other than that, you're talking cinnamon and cocoa, and then some, you know, chopped dried fruit and almond. So let's go ahead and just stick. And like I said, I'm not necessarily sure. Put that in there and then kind of start mixing that around a little bit with the powder. Yep. I'm gonna sprinkle some cinnamon in there. If you're a cinnamon lover, put a lot of cinnamon in it. It's really good circulatory stimulant. It's a good anti-inflammatory. It's great for balancing blood sugar. I mean, all of those things. This is cocoa powder. I'm gonna put, I don't know, some, yeah, maybe a tablespoon and a half or so. And she can just kind of start mixing that up. And you want it to be a paste. You want it to be kind of a thick paste because you're gonna, well, really thick, because you want to make little tiny balls out of it. So yeah, if you've ever made these, let me know. And I'm really chopping these up. You could use a food processor or something else to do this. Since I'm only making a little though, it wouldn't mix well in my food processor.
I'm probably gonna add some more almond butter.
Sure. And that's the fun of this recipe, is just...
You can make it to whatever you want it to be. I made one batch once. That tasted so good. And it was the best thing ever. And I'll never be able to replicate it.
That is the one problem with not using distinct recipes. However, I have found even with following recipes, you don't necessarily have the same taste every single time anyway.
Yeah.
It just isn't, it isn't always like that. Let's go ahead and put a little bit more in there, and I think then we'll have to start using our hand and start mashing it together. I'm gonna take about half of that. You should be able to just kind of start looking at it and see where it's at and what it's doing. It's getting to this kind of ball stage, and I'm gonna have Lindy just kind of stick her hand in there and start kneading it around. Yeah, you can do it, Lindy.
I can do it.
Lindy's gonna get dirty. I still have that little cut, so.
Oh yeah, it would not be good.
It's not good.
Do this.
Yeah, so you have options when you are, when you finish making the little balls, you want to get something on the outside. I'm gonna put coconut, but you could roll it in cocoa powder. What else could you roll it in? You could roll it in cinnamon. You could roll it in chopped nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I even have this
Powdered
this powdered almond stuff that we might just do one of these in that too. So again, it's flexible, it's easy. It's just not complicated at all. And they're delicious, and they provide energy, especially if you have that kind of dip in the afternoon, that 3 o'clock dip.
Yeah.
Where you get, you know, just kind of like, oh, I'm so tired.
That was me this last week.
Yeah, and this can give you kind of that afternoon pick-me-up without needing caffeine or anything like that. Hi, Cheryl. All right, so how are we looking here? Yeah.
Need some more almond?
Maybe, we might. But yeah, I think we're gonna need just a little bit more in there because you really want it to stick together. This is almost there. This one probably could stick together. You just don't want them too crumbly though. And you do want them a little bit sticky on the outside so that they can stick to some stuff. And this one's not sticking super, super well. But I'm gonna taste it anyway. I just got coconut down my shirt.
Don't take that out, I can't.
Tastes really good. Mm-hmm. But it needs a little more moisture. How's that?
We're getting there. Like that.
Yeah, and so it should be kind of almost like a Play-Doh. You kind of want it the texture of a Play-Doh.
Yeah.
Oh, because Cheryl, it says Cheryl Johnson joined when you actually click on it and open it. That's how we knew.
We're psychic.
All right. So then we're going to start. My recommendation is to make these small. That way you can dole them out, and you don't bite into a big one and then go, oh, I don't feel like having the rest. Just make them into small little miniature bites, and then you're going to keep them. What I do.
Yes.
Yeah, I would, nice little small ones. Keep them on here and refrigerate them, and then when they get nice and cold, you see it? Yeah, when they get nice and cold, go ahead and put them in a baggie, and you can keep them in the fridge, and you can just pop a couple of bites in your mouth in the afternoon or in the morning or whenever you're wanting that, again, that pick me up and that little bit of energy.
So I'm gonna do the almond.
Okay.
And
And see, this one's much more moist, and so it really holds on to that coating on the outside. That's what we're looking for here. That just enough of moisture so it can hold on to it, but you don't want it runny and falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
This is it would be a great thing to introduce to children. And you don't have to use maca, but I do think the flavor of maca is quite tasty. But this is a fun thing to get the kids, you know, in there. They're making something, they're kind of working with, well, dough, and then rolling it, even if they don't end up eating it necessarily. You know, the kids can help and do something as well. It doesn't like to roll in that, does it?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a chunky little coconutty thing.
It'll be fine.
It's okay. So yeah, so we're gonna keep rolling these up and eating them. And I really challenge you guys to make your own, to try and make these bites, because honestly, go to the store and look at the price. I should have taken a picture. I couldn't believe how expensive some of them were. And it was like 8 bites or whatever for $4. And I thought, what? Wow, I could make a killing if I made these at home and sold them at like the farmer's market or something.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of work. So I'd rather teach you guys how to make your own, and you can save your own money and have these fun things at home and get creative. If you don't like cinnamon, throw in ginger. Ginger would be a really nice addition to this, and that was one of the things we were talking about putting in here. I just decided not to do that last minute. So, you know, ginger, cinnamon, you could even get crazy and put some green powder in there. Or you could make one that's flavored more like tart, where you're dealing with cherries and bejeweled dates, and maybe doing like rose hips and, I don't know, orange peel or something.
Yeah, you can just do anything.
Absolutely. Really delicious. And let us know if you make it. I'd love to see photos and love to hear that you guys are actually trying some of the things that we are sharing with you. So I think that is it. Let's show you the few that we've got here. Can you see them? I don't want to tip them too much because they're little round things there. Yeah, okay.
Kind of see them.
So yeah, so she's gonna keep making and fill up that little platter, and then we'll refrigerate them and they'll be ready to go. All right, so I think we're gonna get going, and we will see you tomorrow night when we're sharing our next recipe, I think. I'm not sure if we're sharing a recipe or talking about an herb. So,
I don't know.
okay.
Oh, I have to.
She's gonna have to get us offline.
Okay.
All right, until next time, health and joy.
I can do this.
Can you?
I don't know.